Hello, everybody. It is Matt, and it is Maniac Monday, and I am back at you with yet another review. Before I roll on to any of that, I want to wish each and every one of you a great morning, evening, dawn, day, or dusk, all that lovely stuff, because life really is too short as is. Do me a really huge favor and like, share, and subscribe. I love seeing your beautiful faces when you are here. I know I'm here an awful lot, so please take that in mind that I have an awful lot on my plate to review. I got a movie for every day of the month practically. But with all that said in mind, one last little tidbit of information. Check out the description box. I give you your brief synopsis, your starring cast, your directors, your runtime of the cut I am watching, along with a link for a trailer, a link for where you can purchase this bad boy, and then a link for where, if you decide, you can help toss me a couple of bucks and help support the channel. So with all that said in mind, let's get on to the film of the day, and today's is a fun one. It is definitely, I liked it much more than part one. Part three I still like the most out of all three of them, but it is still a very good little movie. It is none other than Horrortales.666 Part 2. Wow, this came out in 2021 and was filmed in conjunction with back-to-back with part 3. As far as I know, everything was done back-to-back. It is also in co-release with the Sleaze Box. This is a very fun little anthology film that consists of five stories, 6 counting the wraparound story. Our wraparound story starring none other than the legendary Joel D. Wynkoop. Yes, reprising his role from Horror Tales 666 Part 1. He is basically returning as the burglar, and he has decided he is going to break into yet another home during broad daylight and decide to ransack the house and see what he can get away with. Excuse me. Now, with all that said in mind, he quickly breaks in after seeing that none other than Catherine Wynkoop is leaving her house, and he breaks in, decides he's going to look around and see what he can find. He comes across the computer and he decides this is the jackpot. Turns on the computer and decides to start reading. And when he is there, he's hearing voices amongst the house that he thinks that he once thought he was alone in. And these voices are very disembodied voices that are very aggressive in nature, telling him to read the stories, calling him names, and basically treating him like he is a horrible person, which, being a burglar, yes, I would say you're a bad person. Now, with all that said in mind, we're going to roll on to this first story. And the first story is about a woman who is a real estate agent, and she is tasked with getting rid of this house. And lo and behold, her co-workers and colleagues are not the very best people, and they are doing all they can to scare the hell out of this poor girl. Things go horribly awry, and then eventually she decides she's going to have a little revenge on those co-workers. Very interesting story. Goes very fun, very cool, very smooth. Now we roll on into the second story. The second story is a very interesting one. It probably stands out the most because it is more science fiction than it is horror, but it is still extremely very well done. It is about a man who finds out that he is a half-human, half-alien hybrid type creature, and he is on his last day on Earth, and he is finding out what his main purpose is and what is going to happen to him next. Very interesting, very cool visuals, done with some cool CGI, done with some neat practical effects as well. It is done in a very fun, neat funny in orderly fashion. There is nothing about it that I dislike, that is for sure. Now we roll on to my third and favorite story out of all of them, and that is The Christmas Story. The Christmas Story is absolutely hilarious and just makes me laugh from beginning to end. It is about a man who is going out on Christmas for his first night. He is Santa Claus, and when he comes back home, he finds out that his wife has been cheating on him with one of the elves, and so he decides to take out both the elf and his wife, and he decides to start sending out the body parts as gifts. Very funny story, very interesting, and it does keep you throughout the entire story. And then we move on to the story that I thought that was the funniest and the most interesting of all, and that is the story of where it is going over Phil Herman and not Derek, but Phil Herman and I'm sorry, I am drawing a blank on the name right now, but they are being Dustin are being constantly bombarded by phone calls asking about who's going to be in Horrortales.666 Part 2. And in all essence, the whole film has already been done, and they are calling for, much to their chagrin, that they do not have a part in the movie. They decide, oh, well, quickly then, if I can't have a part in the movie, can I be the host of it? Can I host the wraparound? And they all, each and every one of them, get very upset because they find out that Joel D. Wynkoop has taken the part, and that the fact that everybody is tired of Joel taking the part, and some of the people even calling are Shawn Phillips, Joel's wife Mary Catherine Wynkoop is calling, and Phil even makes a comment like, "Don't you guys even talk?" You know, one of those kind of things, as she is trying to seduce him over the telephone. It is very funny. Derek Braasch calls. All kinds of people are calling in reference to get the part of the horror host, or at least secure some sort of part in the film. This segment goes on for a little longer than I expected, but it is still very, very funny, and it made me laugh until I cried in places. Because I can 100% see this being a problem as a filmmaker, having people call months after the film has been done, or just briefly after the film has been finished, just trying to get parts and being upset with you because they did not get a part. I can see that being some sort of issue in real life for filmmakers, especially in the underground, independent, low budget B movie realm that we all know and love today. So it is very, very interesting movie, very good, very fun. I really, really enjoyed it. I think that this one is much better than the first one. Oh, and I almost forgot there was another story in there. I almost forgot it was the Joe Sherlock story, with the gift, and it is about a husband who comes home and his wife, played by Roxy Mountains, has a gift for her husband, and you find out what the gift is, and it is none other than Donna Rooney tied up in the garage, and they decide to kill her, and then we have a nice sleazy sex scene. It is by far probably that and the Marcelo Fabiani, I believe is how you pronounce his name. I believe those two segments were probably the shortest ones out of all of them, out of all five. But it is a very fun segment. But all five segments are in all are very, very fun. You can't go wrong with each and every one of the directors attached to this. They all did a fantastic job. Now, on to the three things that I like my movies to meet. Audio, this thing gets A plus because there is not a moment in this one where the audio is bad or where I misunderstand where anybody is saying anything. I understood every single word, very crisp, very clear, and it is very nice, and I absolutely loved that about this. So it gets an A plus on that end. Now on to dialogue. Dialogue is where the bread and butter is in this movie because there is so much fun, interesting, cool dialogue ranging from the absurd stuff that Joel Wynkoop says talking to the ghost, to the Marcelo Fabiani story of the half alien hybrid, where it is very deep, dark, and very intellectually it's very stimulating on the mind. It's very, very thought provoking, I should say. So it has a very good wide range of dialogue that will keep you entranced throughout this entire film. It never gets boring on that aspect. It is a 100% good little script that has been written. I don't know if any of it was improvised or if it was all 100% script driven. Either way, I feel like all five stories, 6 including the wraparound, the dialogue is absolutely fun, and that you can get 100% behind this movie without being bored at all. So keep that in mind. So it gets an A plus on dialogue. Now on to editing. Editing, I imagine, on an anthology film can probably be a nightmare because you got to be able to edit these things together to make them make sense and make them fit in a nice cohesive fashion, and they did a very good job on that. So in the overall aspect of that, it's going to get an A as well. So we got an A plus, an A plus, and an A, and so our overall score, I'm going to give it on the 1 through 5 is going to be a 4 out of 5. It is way above average type movie. It is a perfect Halloween movie. I should have gotten to it a little sooner, but unfortunately scheduling just did not work out in my favor. But either way, this is a very cool little film. Definitely check out Horrortales.666 Part 2. It is 100% worth your try, worth your watch. Get a hold of Phil Herman or Joel D. Wynkoop to get copies. I'm going to put Phil's link in the description box so that you can get a copy to buy on this one, because I feel this is very much own worthy. I feel all three of them are own worthy, so definitely hop on out there and get that. So definitely yes. On to everything else. I love your faces, and as always, peace.